live on Sky Sports F1. Formula One is back. It's the moment they've been waiting for. Are you ready? It's time. Let's go, boys. Listen to the roar. Right now. Time to go racing. Box. The tyres are on charge. There is a bullet Ferrari. I need more power, man. Realize it's hammer time. He's going for it. Give me everything you have. He's going wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton.
Live from Concord, North Carolina, we get set to welcome race fans one and all to America's home for racing. It's the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and tonight it plays host to race number 2 in the VRX-Pimax World Cup. Hello one and all, and welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Olympa with Ryan Howard beside me in the commentary booth today. And it's bound to be one exciting show for us here as we get set to kick off yet another 60 laps of racing action in the Pimax VRX World Cup. Larry Bell took a storming start after he found himself breaking away from the field following a massive pileup on the final lap on a green-white checkered finish at the Daytona International Speedway. Ryan, he's going to be looking to see if he can't go back-to-back then at America's home for racing.
Absolutely. You get one race in, you want to get another in. Make sure you build up that gap as soon as possible from the start. But as anything told us from 2 weeks ago from the elimination round, Charlotte is quite the track, hard to master and hard to race. So you always have to be fully focused and fully concentrating, and anything can happen at Charlotte. But I'd also like to point out that during this week, Carb Cup have also been running at Charlotte, which is where a lot of these drivers know each other from, so they have had plenty of practice against many people. And times for qualifying have already been set, with Chris Carroll currently in the lead.
You mentioned, of course, qualifying already fully underway here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the fact that Chris Carroll currently sits in the qualifying lead, but you've still got a good chunk of drivers that are looking to see if they can't put down some good qualifying times. Larry Bell already has a time set for himself a bit further up on the grid, and he's going to be finding himself at the moment not quite where he's hoping to be. He sits 19th spot at the moment, but he's coming around turn numbers 3 and 4 for his second lap here, and as he gets set to put himself up onto the timing sheets here this time around here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, it's going to be good enough to put himself up to 5th with a 30.464. Still got the times tumbling down, including the likes of some big names here like Brian Henning, still trying to see if they can't put that hammer down.
Absolutely, they're really working hard here. Good qualifying is what you do need, because if you lead in the race at Charlotte, you have nothing to worry about in terms of what's going to happen ahead. This track has been known to wreck people, especially on the exit of turn 4, where it's got that nice little lift that could just end up throwing your car. So if you want to avoid any wrecks, being at the front is where you want to be. Yeah, as long as you can trust your own driving ability as well.
Getting set to come across the line for the second time today. Currently sits 21st spot for Brian Hennings, and it's going to be an improvement up to 11th spot for the VRX number 74 Chevy Camaro ZL1. Not good enough, though, to break up into those top 5 rows. Still got some drivers putting down the laps here, looking down for the likes of Nicholas Fontenot, as well as one Joey Maines, see if he can't put his time up on the boards as well. So a few guys still have yet to put down the qualifying lines. They don't have long to do so, though. Here's Sierra Clampert, and she's going to get set to come across the line this time by. Currently sits 29th spot, and she's going to stay 30th here then as she comes across the start-finish line. And in fact, for Joey Maines, he's going to find himself 28th fastest on the boards for the number 48 car for Monster Energy.
Absolutely, and looking at the timings right now, it looks like from P5 down to P9, what I've got with my timers anyway. Everyone's setting a 15.3 in the second sector. However, Joseph McWhorter has set the fastest sector 1, but has only managed to make it to P6. So it really does demonstrate how you've really got to tie the lap up all together as one. You can't just rely on one strong sector to get you through. You need 2 really good strong sectors to get to the top.
Joey Main's going to pull that car down, and he's going to be the last driver so far to put down a qualifying time. No other drivers on this grid are going to be able to put themselves with a good lap time before we get set to go racing for what should be a very exciting 60 laps. It was set to be 40, ended up being 48 at the World Center of Racing at the Daytona International Speedway down in Daytona Beach in Florida for the Daytona International Speedway and the season opener. And yet here as we swing on up to north to Concord, North Carolina, we'll see if we'll be keeping it this time within that 60-lap regulation. It's going to be a fun race with these guys here tonight. We're expecting not to be here for any more than about 45 minutes if this race does go flag to flag. Checker flag flying over here on the qualifying running order for the VRX-Pimax World Cup for race number 2. Let's take a rundown here of what your official starting grid is going to be looking like. So we get set to roll it off for 60 laps in Charlotte. Aaron Smith is going to be up there on a pole position with Sean Bounty beside him on that front row. Chris Carroll is down in 3rd with Corbin Himstreet in 4th for row number 2. Jason Day is in 5th with Joseph Bigwater in 6th. Larry Bell is 7th with Jonathan Schwartz back in 8th. Jeffrey Hunter and Guy Bear round on the top 10. Brian Hennings and Troy Tarbuck sit on row number 6. Row 7 holds Jason Lyon and Lewis Meglin with Mark Math and Nicholas Fontenelle 15th and 16th. Isaac Wilson and Derek Stanley 17th and 18th. John Hudson and Joy Maines round out row number 10. For them, we've got Nathan Kennedy, Justin Ritchie, Dave Collins Sr., Andrew Schuler, Stephen Crone, Carson Catlin, Edward Marshall, Dylan Jackson, Teresa Spiker, Sierra Clampert, Greg Spiker, Dustin Buck, Joseph Seelig, and Jim Schwarter to bring up a 34-car field once again in the VRX-Pimax World Cup. So as we get set to roll things on off here then, Ryan, what do you think we can expect in this opening green flag run?
I think for the first handful of laps, I think it's going to be really, really clean and consistent. But as the race goes on, people get a bit more comfortable and may want to try and sneak a move either on the outside or the inside. I think the inside line is going to be where it's at, where you're going to find the pace, the time, and the moves. Being caught out, getting onto the high side might see you hemorrhaging and losing a lot of positions. But it is Charlotte, anything can happen. I'm really excited to see what it's going to be like.
We'll give a quick shout out to the guys that helped to keep the lights on here for the VRX-Pimax World Cup. Of course, this broadcast is brought to you by Pimax. With their gear, you can go where no gamer has gone before. They strive to help humanity exceed its limits through the use of technology, putting users first by delivering the best VR experience possible. They are also fronting the bill for the #1 prize of the Pimax World Cup, the brand new Crystal headset. To find out more, visit them at www.pimax.com. And by VRX Simulators. VRX has been designing and developing advanced developing advanced simulators for over 15 years. Over that time, they have come to understand the unique needs of every individual who purchases a VRX system. Their clients range from the home racing enthusiast to the global corporation looking to find a comprehensive and immersive simulation solution for a variety of applications. Find out more at www.vrx.ca. By Thrustmaster, a distinguished gaming tradition for over 30 years. Thrustmaster takes pride in its core values, passion, quality, and innovation, and constantly strives to improve the realism and immersiveness in legendary game worlds offered by thrilling and truly exceptional experiences. From video game enthusiasts to casual gamers, Thrustmaster accessories for PC and gaming consoles bring everyone's dreams to life. And lastly, by Buttkicker. Buttkicker haptic hardware and software deliver the most accurate and highest fidelity sim racing tactile feedback possible via in-game audio and telemetry data. Experience deep immersion by actually feeling the whole vehicle suspension, track surfaces, engine RPMs, tire grip, and more, allowing for your simulator faster driving, more immersion, and more control. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. Entering turn numbers 3 and 4 as we get set to go racing for 60 laps of racing action here tonight. Justin Buck, Jim Schwarter not going to be taken to the starting grid. They'll be happy to start this race a long way down from pit road. Want to thank everybody taking the time to join us here for tonight's entertainment on Green Flag TV on this beautiful Saturday night. It'll be in the hands of Aaron Smith and, of course, Barney the Flagman as the pace car going to pull down and in. It's time to get this party underway as it'll be Aaron Smith to lead us down to the green flag. Race number 2 in the VRX-Pimax World Cup is underway.
That's what I call a nice clean lap from the start and the get-go. Really, really nice racing there.
Aaron Smith leads lap number 1 as Chris Carroll tries to hightail it up the back end into turn numbers 3 and 4, down the back straight for the second time today. Single file out all the way back until about the 4th spot where Corbin Himstreet trying to fend off Jason Day. Day with the charge though in the Motive Chevrolet up the bottom.
I'm loving the side-by-side action of John Swartz and Joseph McWhorter. They're really going at it, side-by-side, corner after corner. Giving each other only the smallest amount of room is really good wheel-to-wheel racing. I also do love some of the liveries that we do have here on display, especially the one of Jason Lyon in the green. Sorry, did I say Jason Lyon? Yes, Jason Lyon. Sorry, my bad. Jason Lyon. He has a really lovely livery, the VRX green with white and a metallic shiny paint. I really, really love it.
Chris Carroll takes the race lead off of turn number 2, got the run on Aaron Smith for lap number 3, and he'll lead that 3rd lap here today from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sean Bowden picks up 2nd place right behind. Aaron Smith will fall back to 3rd, but that's where he'll stay. As Himstreet still trying to fend off Jason Day from the top shelf. It's been a clean opening start to this race so far, but obviously that can all change in a heartbeat. As once again, this field thunders down into turn numbers 3 and 4. Look at Himstreet trying to open up the top lane, making the run for 3rd on Aaron Smith around the outside of 4.
It is such a good idea to keep getting those runs in, and then you'll eventually be able to do the switchback. However, if you're not careful, you might end up hitting a bump. You may get the car a little bit loose, and all that momentum you build up is just lost with one corner if you're not careful.
See the field starting to string out down the back straightaway. Now the top 4 single filing out as Jason Day now takes to the outside line. Looks like the top side could be very, very effective for these drivers here today for Charlotte Speedway. A couple of drivers scraping the outside wall off of that 4th and final turn, but they're going to get themselves sorted with no caution as everybody keeps things pointing in the right direction. That outside wall, though, especially off of 4, it can come back to bite you hard. You hit that wrong, you break a toe, you're going to find yourself an absolute passenger as you're going to go flying straight on into the quad oval.
Absolutely, and it's the one thing you do not want to be as a passenger going nearly 200 miles an hour on a very, very high speed oval. I do apologise if voice sounds a bit hoarse. I'm feeling a little unwell, but needs and must and all of that. I lost my train of thought. Yes, you do not want to be going sideways, especially out there when the car's going 200 miles an hour and you suddenly going from 200 miles an hour to about 100 miles an hour. Because you will find yourself in a wreck, and it is not going to be a very pleasant one at all.
The 95 car, Jonathan Schwartz, jumps to the inside as McWhorter gets up in line. So the 95 going to make that charge up for the 6th position. Kind of looking down around the field. You can see a little bit of the side-by-side action going on a bit deep. Whoa, hello! One car way out to the wall. That's Mark Mathers going to go tumbling down the field to the 199. That almost ended in complete and absolute disaster for that machine. He'll get himself sorted, but I think got a bit out of shape entering the quad oval like we just talked about, and almost body slammed the outside wall of the quad oval. I think he did end up scraping along it, but not enough to put too much damage on that Chevrolet.
You have to be so calculated when you're taking these corners at these speeds. The slightest amount of throttle can change your entire trajectory, whether it means you taking the corner perfectly with good momentum or just running ever so slightly wide into the wall, destroying your momentum, which you do not want. It is a hard balance to achieve, and you have to be so careful that you do not overdo it at any point. But it looks like Joseph McWhorter is still making moves, getting past Jason Day.
Believe side by side at the moment with the 69 car of Corbin Himstreet. He's making that move for 4th here at the moment as he's going to go down for the inside line over into turn numbers 1 and 2 for the 10th time this evening. But the 73 car going to stall out for the bottom as Schwartz not able to make too much of a move, and Schwartz going to hang back for that 6th spot for the time being, but no doubt going to be hanging around and waiting in the wings just to see when he's going to have that opportunity to break up into the top 5. But we mentioned this before, a really, really good opening start here to this race as these drivers thunder back down into turn numbers 1 and 2. The 73 holding fairly strong with that top 5 spot. You see him taking that wider arc right, trying to dime it off that corner, get the good run of the exit of turn 2. It can be a great tactic, but you got to make sure that the car behind you isn't close enough to lunge a sneak attack up the inside, or it's just going to take your run away.
Yes, but it looks like if you look at Joseph, he's very, very calculated in how he's putting that car where you can tell he's got the car exactly where he wants to. He's got it just on that sort of middle to low line where he seems to be getting not only the entry speed that he needs, but also the really nice exits that he needs to sort of catch up and close the gap to a car ahead. How long this will work for, I'm not too sure. Is it going to be enough just to get him past? Only time can tell.
See him battling for that fourth position here at the moment. Joseph DeGorder as he tries to run down the likes of Corbin Himstreet and his machine. And heads up as McGorder gets loose off turn number 4. And just like that, he's going to fall right back to the clutches of Jonathan Schwartz. That's part of what we were talking about, right? You got to be oh so careful when you're trying to make a move like that off of turn 4, and it almost ended in complete catastrophe. How would Aaron Smith, meanwhile, trying to bounce back as he's going to look to get around Sean Bowdy in the move for second place?
Yes, you have to be so careful, and now he's really being hunted down at the moment. But Aaron Smith, he's making the moves that count right now, and not only that, it looks like he got the exit to sort of catch a little bit up to car in front. Yes, he's catching up to Chris Carroll, and he's definitely got the speed to make it work. And the question is, how long are these tyres going to last here at Charlotte, I wonder?
So we got the likes of Chris Carroll, and I think this will kind of show the where things are at as things stand. You can kind of see there is Smith right in behind, and did lose a little bit, but the 2 laps prior, Smith was a couple of tenths quicker. We'll see what the times are at this time by at the start-finish line as we'll cross on to lap number 15. And look at that, another 0.2 of a second gain for Aaron Smith. He is absolutely trying to run that car down. He knows what he's doing to put that car up into a good position. I have a feeling that Chris Carroll's about to be in a fight for the lead here like there's no tomorrow.
It honestly looks like he's driving a completely different car to everyone else. He keeps finding time somehow. He just keeps getting faster and faster and faster and closing that gap up. Obviously, the tow is definitely helping, but it just looks magical how he's just closing that gap up. Like I said, it's just a different car. It's like he's driving an IndyCar and everyone else is driving a Mazda.
A lot of fighting going on here in the mid-pack as they're double filing. It's a high-speed pace lap deeper in the field. You've got Stanley Hennings, Fontenot, Math, all under a blanket along with more. I believe Jason Lyon caught in the fray here along with Derek Stanley. This is for 15th spot on back. These guys been side by side for a while. The 337 thinking about maybe going for a move up the middle, decides to gain at the last second, but you can tell these guys are starting to get a little bit restless here at the back end of the field. They want to make moves to try to put themselves further towards the front, but you got to be so cautious when you're trying to make those moves. You're going to find yourself something you put in the wall. It's a 337 again runs Hennings up the road, and we're going to go 3 wide in turn 2.
Oh, there's a time and a place to be going 3 wide, and I don't think Charlotte is that place. I'll be very wary of doing that too often.
Oh, look out! Mark Mapp sends it up the inside of Fontenot. We're 3 wide again off of 4s. We somehow managed to keep ourselves steady. How in the world did we not just find ourselves completely wiped out after that giant mess? That got all sorts of hectic in a mad dash as we're going to get ourselves finally sorted, it looks like. But my goodness, what a ride.
Also, I'm sure he'd ever want to repeat again. I think he won a little bit of an easier time, but I'm sure he's glad he's made it through one piece.
Going to jump up here to the likes of Sean Bounty, who has started to drop further back throughout the field. He was running at second at one point, right? But now he's fallen outside of the top 5. He just lost a spot there to the likes of Jonathan Schwartz. You see the 0-2 car now trying to find a look on the inside as Guy Barrett trying to make a move, and looks like he'll try to get himself sorted with that run for the inside into 3 and 4. Guy Barrett, can he get that spot for 6th place to try to charge after the top 5? Not going to be able to do so at the end of lap number 19.
I don't know, maybe if he can just get himself into the toe long enough, he's able just to pull himself through. But taking that low line is really compromising his entry there. And it doesn't look like Sean Boundy can maximise the exits that he needs to defend from Guy Barrett there. Oh, okay, a little surprise from Jason A. Day here, who just slipped up right past him. He saw there was an opportunity and thought, you know what, I'll have a little bit of that. And just went straight past them like they weren't even there.
Still going to try to get ourselves sorted here as we got ourselves trying to make this move up here. Sorry for the slight glitches on the timing overlay. We're trying to get things sorted, work on some grounders behind the scenes. Looks like that's all been sorted now, though, as the timing boards will stabilize on the left-hand side of your screens here. We're going to continue to keep our eyes here on this fight for that 6th position as these guys have been fighting it out really hard amongst each other so far. And a bit further up the road, got the likes of Chris Carroll here, still trying to make a move himself to hang on to that race lead. Aaron Smith, meanwhile, has been hanging on right behind, and with how fast he closed at the back end, I've got to imagine that Smith's got some more speed underneath him than that, right? He's just trying to play around with Chris Carroll and make him burn up his rubber so he can make that pass that much easier, deeper in the runs.
I think that's what he's doing. He's trying to save his tires. He's trying to save his fuel. He's trying to make a strategy work, I think, here. But with that also said, on the radio, we have one of the drivers, I won't mention which. I'll give you a hint, though. They are definitely within the top 5, saying, hang on, the leaders are running away with this race. Oh!
Oh, hello! Big trouble in the front straightaway as McWhorter going around. Caution is out. He's still trying to spin out and lose control. Heads up for the field behind. He's going to hold that brake, and it looks like everybody's going to be able to split him, and we're going to be under caution flag number 1 here of the afternoon on lap number 23. So we had a good little run there, but caution flag comes out as McWhorter ends up going around, and he's going to tank down the time in order as a result. He now runs 26th.
Yep. Commentator's curse, whatever you like to call it, but it's the exit of turn 4. That was the devil in the details in that one. But as I was saying, you can hear on the radio the drivers, top 5 saying, hang on guys, we're losing so much time to the cars in front. We need to start working together and be a bit more cooperative, bomb drafting and drafting to catch up to them. But, you know, they got their wish in the end, having a method of catching up to the front. Probably not the way they'd like, though, sadly.
Chris Carroll takes the race lead. Aaron Smith, Himstreet, Day, and Bounty round out the top 5 as a few drivers already started to come down to pit road, most notably Teresa Spiker, Andrew Schuler, Joseph Seeley, Clampert, and Guy Barrett all down and in for service. I'd be expecting a good chunk of your leaders to come on in to pit road here as well. And in fact, here they come as you've got, so far it looks like everybody on the lead lap going to be making trips on down to pit road. We'll let you obviously know if that changes. Currently the guys that are down, though, the pit road would have been closed to them, so they're going to be sent right to the tail of the field.
It does look like a lot of the drivers here are taking tyres, which I think would probably be the smart call, but I can't help but feel that maybe you want to hope for another yellow later on so you can take some tyres again.
Ooh, hello.
And
Looked like
here's very...
I was just going to say, it looked like Bounty actually got him into Schuler a little bit coming on down the pit road there. I thought for a second he was actually going to spin him out. Schuler was on his way out of pit road. Bounty was trying to turn in. He had to make an aggressive turn and thought going to do this. Pit stall, and Smith going to jump Chris Carroll for the race lead on the race off pit road.
Anyway, as I was saying, I think they're definitely going to be hoping for another yellow later on. It's the only way I can see that may be a potential strategy working out here. What are your thoughts?
I think I'd kind of be agreeing with that one at this point in time. You got to kind of be able to set yourself up for the longer runs as well. I doubt that's going to be our only yellow flag of the afternoon, so we'll only have to wait and see to see it's going to end up playing on out in this pit strategy here. Let's take a look at the replay, and we'll see what happened to Joseph McWhorter. This is coming on off of turn 4. Oh, he just got loose by himself and then came back onto the track, and nothing the 95 car could do there in that deal. So that was just a bad, wrong place, wrong time deal there for the 95 machine, who got absolutely clobbered in the midst of that one.
Yeah, it was, like I said, the exit of turn 4, that little bump. It's just enough to, yep, you could even see it from that camera angle. The rear of the car lifts up, maybe the diffuser stalls, and there is nothing you can really do there. You tend to be a passenger. You have to be proactively thinking, preventing beforehand, before it even gets to that point. So, i.e. take the corner a little bit slower, lift off a little bit. Maybe you could have done more to correct it. Turn a little bit more left. Try and straight line the car more instead of like trying to get it back on track, but there's very little you could have done.
Just a bad deal all around. And how about this one? This is, I think, the most impressive thing. Oh, Lion did actually tag the outside wall, but thought for a second that was going to end up being a lot worse than it ended up being here. I want to get a look on board with Jason on the line here if we can throughout this whole thing. We'll back this up one more time, and we'll look back to the 12 car here. Gonna watch as he comes off of turn number 4. We're gonna ride on board here and watch as he's gonna see the car coming back down the track. Doesn't quite know where to go. He's gonna aim for the outside and nicks the wall a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to be a race ender for him.
It won't be a race ender, but it'll definitely harm his top end speed, I reckon. Small misses like that, they add up over time. The way iRacing does damage model, what it does, it really detracts from your top end speed, and that can actually kill your race if you're not careful, because what it may not seem like a lot, 3-4 miles an hour, that's the top speed that you need to be overtaking people and like staying up people's gearboxes. And without that extra 3-4 miles an hour, your race could definitely be cooked. But fortunately, there was a yellow flag. There is definitely opportunity for him to get the repair in. We've got a new strange turn of events with the new leading order of this race. It looks like Andrew Schuler leads.
I was going to say, usually the lap cars get waved around the iRacing safety car, but it looks like they're actually being sent to the tail end of the field here, so I'm not quite sure how this is going to end up being played, but this is completely throwing a wrench into the works, I think, to put it mildly here. So you got Joseph Seelig among the drivers that's falling back. You see him having to drop all the way to the back end of the field, and it looks like the 89 car maybe among those drivers. You see Schuler way on the inside line, so they are not going to be getting their laps back in this one. And they'll be relegated to the back end. That's unfortunate for them, and I guess lap cars have to watch out that you're not going to be able to get those wave arounds then, it looks like, when the lights go out aboard the safety car.
This is by far the most confusing thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Can't be confused. This doesn't make too much sense in my mind.
Oh, all is well. We're going to be taking this race down to the green flag. Pace car pulling down and in. To get this race back underway for lap number 28 from Concord, North Carolina.
Pace car is in. Aaron Smith takes the obligation for the restart.
Already down into turn numbers 1 and 2 and onto that back straightaway. Aaron Smith losing out to Chris Carroll around the outside shelf. That 99 car knows where to put that machine as he's going to rocket to the race lead in 3 and 4. And coming off of turn 4, Chris Carroll again leads the first lap to the restart. Aaron Smith just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of pace on that bottom lane on the initial jump.
It does seem like a very difficult task doing restarts here at Charlotte. I can't imagine it's particularly easy to deal with. You've got so many cars, and the tyres may be a little bit cold, especially if you've just pitted and you've got to take that first turn. You need to know exactly where to lift, how to lift, and what kind of line to take. Otherwise, you may find yourself in a world of hurt if you are not careful.
Side by side, a bit deeper down the field here, looking to the likes of the 15. How about Jeffrey Hunter trying to fight it out with Jonathan Schwartz on the inside line. Schwartz, of course, got pancaked up against the outside wall about 5 laps ago to Brown yellow flag number 1, but he's finding himself with a good run now as he was able to get himself fixed up with one faster as these guys have access to, and now he is still fighting to stay inside the top 10. Or brings way up into the top 10 at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Chris Carroll's definitely taking the lead as he's saying, look, Aaron, I was leading before you. It's my rightful place and I'm taking it back. I don't care if you got pole. And he's just gone straight ahead and stormed back ahead. Aaron Smith, I think he's definitely doing the long game here. He's looking at us and being, you know what, I was comfortable behind Chris Carroll. I'm just going to sit behind him again. I'm going to save my tyres, save my fuel. And then I'm going to make my move later on in the race. Problem is, when drivers do that, sometimes they end up leaving it a bit too late, and as a result they end up finishing a little bit lower than they expected if they don't get a hustle on.
Well, so far things have been looking smooth as the field runs it back down the back straightaway here and in towards turn numbers 3 and 4. I can tell you right now, this has been a phenomenal run that these drivers have been having so far. Aaron Smith has not shown any sign of yielding for that second position as we'll hightail it back off of turn number 4 down to the front straightaway with Chris Carroll right up in the lead. Bounty and Day round out the top 5 here as things stand. And you see that 69 car already trying to take that wider arc in. Get the diamond run up the corner and see if you can get around Aaron Smith, but it's a tough defensive driver that you got going for you here. Meanwhile, again, deeper in the pack. How about this one for Jonathan Schwartz? Now to work the outside line. Get around Isaac Wilson. Wilson going to hang firm in the 93 car from the bottom. You saw him go defensive on the back straightaway this last time by. We're past halfway. That 95 car is broken back into the top 10.
Absolutely. He looks like he's making it look easy moves on the outside for the car 95. It looks like he's going to do it again. It's all about making sure he can get that slipstream though, just as he's coming out on the exit and take mega advantage of that. And he's still going for it. And he's making it look very, very easy.
Look at the speed around the outside of the 24 car there of Troy and Tarbach as he's going to take it back down to the front straightaway here on this one as we run it back down in towards turn numbers 1 and 2. I can tell you right now, this has been a great fight so far, and that 95 car continuing to go up, up, and up as he gets around Derek Stanley now, threatening now Jason Day for the top 5 once again, where he started, where he was running early in this race before he found himself being knocked all the way down. He did start back in 8th spot, remember, so he's been on overall in a really good race, all things considered that he got wrecked out about 10 laps prior.
Yeah, exactly, and he's literally just driving around these people like they're not even there. He's making it look pretty elementary. This is actually fantastic to watch. But it looks like his streak has come to an end. He's lost a little bit of momentum, but it was really impressive to see how he could just take that higher line, keep that car planted up there while carrying the speed. It is truly remarkable skill and racecraft and pace to be able to do that. It's not very often you see moves done around the outside.
Jason Ryan enjoying me there. A bit of a scrap for the last spot inside the top 10. So fighting for some pretty big points here still for the VRX number 12 and the Monster Energy 48. 2 Chevys running side to side, door to door as they hightail it down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just missed it. John Schwartz has just overtaken the 26 car. 26? Might be mistaken. No, sorry, my bad. The 52 car.
Oh, boy. Contact sends line almost up into the outside wall off of turn number 4 as we enter the quad oval. So, again, getting physical in Concord, North Carolina. We're starting to approach the last third of this race, and that aggression is starting to ramp up here, Ryan.
It is getting a little bit tight there. It's not the place you really want to be making any contact. It's in that little kink there. Especially when you turn in and you're just going side by side and you're touching, that's all it takes for a huge spin and a huge crash to happen. But thankfully, nothing bad did happen. They managed to keep the cars going, no problem. But as they do say,
trouble, caution, and it looks like it is Carson Catlin a part of this one, and potentially Dave Collins Sr. as well. And oh wow, the 420 car, look at the right front of that thing. It is absolutely demolished. You'll be able to see it here when it comes around turn 2 here, but you're going to look as the smoke flying from the engine, and that right front is absolutely junked. Look at that, completely toned. It's not even rotating.
Yeah, he's struggling to get that car moving. I think that might be it. Unless he's got a fast repair, that car looks like it's toast.
Something maybe you had it on board of the right front quarter panel. It appears we do not, though, as now these guys have already pitted before, right? But they pitted about 16 laps ago now. Do you want to come down now and make a second round of pit stops here with 20 to go?
Yeah, I think now you could definitely pit and make it to the end, I think. This would be the safe bet if you wanted to pit, because we are now beyond halfway. If there was only one pit stop scheduled, this is probably it. Do you stay out with what you got? Hope the tyres last? Maybe the fuel might last? Who knows?
And the big question...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, that 420 car is still out there. He's still going. I'm amazed he hasn't come to the pits yet, unless he hasn't got the chance yet. He's going incredibly slowly.
Lap down.
Yeah.
The question is Aaron Smith going to get out in front of Chris Carroll? He did the first time we left pit road, only just, though. You can see Smith up on the jacks, and one car's actually missed the box entirely deeper in the field, having to reverse back up into his stall further down the field. Smith trying to get off the jacks first. Here goes Carroll, and he is going to beat him out for a second time. Aaron Smith is an absolute god-tier driver getting into that pit box, it seems.
Absolutely. You want to get straight into the pit box, straight where you need to be, and then you can get that, so you're not wasting time, you know, with the pit crew coming out to the right position, whatever. You want to stop by them, not them come to you. Waste too much time. But it doesn't seem to be a problem for Aaron Smith. He's made the jump. But can he keep Chris Carroll behind this time? That is the question.
This is the replay. Oh my goodness, the 420 and Carson Catlin taking a wild, wild ride. Coming off of turn number 4. We're going to look back at that one again. We're going to back this up a little bit further so you can kind of get a bigger picture of this. Finding it out with a 43 on the inside line. That's Lewis Meglin. We're going to come off of turn number 4 here and enter the quad oval. And what on earth has transpired? Oh, he's got a bit wide, got into the wall, and then rebounded down into the 43. And that sent him shooting up into the wall and on top of the 43 car. That is something else, to say the least.
That is a huge, huge one. It's not very often you see cars on top of other cars. Especially on stream. Nah, I can't make that joke, to apologise. Oh, that's a nasty camera angle.
Yeah, no kidding. That was on top of the 9 of Nathan Allen Kennedy, the driver he ramped up over right there.
Yeah, if you ever wondered where baby cars came from, there's your answer. But ooh, that was not a nice image to see at all.
No kidding.
It does look like the car is back on the road. It is repaired, so we did have a fast repair, luckily. Oh.
Slow this one down here. We'll try to emphasize just how wild of a ride this ended up being, as going to get into the 43 there. He's going to swing on up. I think it kind of hooks into the wall right there. And then, yeah, the back end lifted up, and then I just drove completely underneath him. And that's what sent the 420 up and into the air. Lucky that it didn't get into the catcher. They easily could have hooked that car, and he would have been able to drive away from that wreck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even if you could get your car to drive away from that wreck, I don't think you'd want to drive away from that sort of wreck. Cars, as we all know, should firmly stay on the ground with all four wheels contacting the tarmac. Anything beyond that can shake even the best of drivers. Unless you're Mark Webber, of which case you live for being flipped around.
Oh, he has had a few wild ones in his career, hasn't he? We had Le Mans, you had Formula 1 in Valencia in 2010, yep. I think it was.
Well, if he had a nickel for every time it happened, he would have about 4 nickels, which isn't much, but it's strange that it's happened that many times.
Oh, a great take on the classic meme right there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, during his Le Mans flips, little history lesson here, Mercedes team initially didn't believe that there was anything wrong with the car. They believed it was actually something that Mark Webber was doing was wrong. It was only until his teammate flipped the car in the exact same way and they had video footage of it did they actually believe Mark Webber and that something was wrong with the car.
I never understood
which case,
what the thought process behind this was. It was like, how do you make a car take off in such a manner? That's not something a driver has much control over.
Aerodynamics is a wondrous thing. Controlled by wizards, I'm sure. But yeah, there was clearly a flaw with the aerodynamics, which they couldn't see in the data or anything like that. They didn't have any video footage to confirm what was happening. They only had Mark Webber's word to go off, and it was only until his teammate done it that they're like, actually, we may have been wrong here. Anyway, pace car is in.
Pull down the pit road, and we'll go green flag racing once again. The field still 32 cars strong. Comes off of turn number 4, and we are back to green flag racing once again in the rocket run down to turn number 3. So far, a good run. Got a little bit of free wide there further down in the pack, but so far this time, Aaron Smith hanging on for the race lead. Carroll, the loose. He's going to be hit by Sean Bounty. We're going to scramble on the back straightaway. One by one, drivers stacking up. We got a hard crash on the back straightaway with the 337 up on his roof. Nicholas Fontanon rolling down the back straightaway, and we're going to have caution flag number 3, and this is where it starts to go downhill.
Oh. That was a hectic restart.
There's a lot to unpack in that deal, as the 337 car arguably took among the biggest hits out of anybody there. We'll jump over and we'll look to what happened to Nicholas Fontanon here on that back straightaway. Okay, we're gonna back this up. We're gonna back it up a bit further here because my goodness, there is so much that happened here on this restart. So you can kind of back it up a bit further, a little bit more. There we go. So watch up at the front of the field, left side of your screen. That's where we're going to see Bounty get a bit out of shape on the inside line, right where the 95 does. That's going to stack up this whole field. Now the 337, oh, he got hit by Jeffrey Hunter, who got loose from the bottom. He nails the wall right where it exits, and they're already wrecking big time in the background of this thing as well. So there was a completely separate incident that went down deeper in the pack.
Yes, it does look like that. So what we've got here is car number 15 coming off the exit of
This
2.
is the second incident here, the 43 and the 22 maybe at least. Seem Meglin here. I think they're checking up for the wreck up front. And oh yeah, checking for the wreck in front of the 43. Got run over by the 707. And everyone just came screaming in, full head of steam behind these guys.
Ooh. Big thing. Also, I would like to correct something I said last week concerning Jeffrey Hunter's livery and saying it was in celebration of Cinco de Mayo. That is actually completely incorrect. It isn't Cinco de Mayo. It's Day of the Dead. I forget what it's called.
Oh my gosh. What a wild hit. And that's where everybody else kind of got collected behind.
Gotta say, for restarts, I've definitely seen better restarts. Because if we go all the way back to the actual restart itself, you notice that Arrow was actually really late on the restart. Maybe.
Well, there is actually a reason for that one that I found out after our season opener as well. There actually is a rule that says they must wait for the iRacing starter to wave that green flag. So they don't actually have control over these restarts. It was all up to Barn and the flagman up on the flag stand. That's why we saw so many drivers going so late at Daytona. That's why we've been seeing them going later and later here at Charlotte as well.
Oh, okay. That makes a bit more sense. I always thought Barney started waving as soon as the lead driver started putting their foot down.
Goodness gracious. That shot right there, I think, perfectly encapsulates just how fast these guys were going when they tanked into that inside wall. It just does not do any justice.
It makes your bones feel weird watching something like that. It really does.
I'm going to try to get one more look on board with that 337 before we go to green flag racing. Watch this all the way through, and you're going to have to hang on because this is going to be a wild incident.
Yes, sir. Oh. Yeah, no. Larry Bell hits Jeffrey there at 174 miles.
Oh my gosh! I cannot underestimate how hard you have to hit a wall, even at an angle like that, for it to actually roll over, even by iRacing standards.
Exactly. I'd also like to point out that Larry Bell, who hit Jeffrey Hunter during that little wreck, he hit him at 174 miles an hour. That is not a small amount of time to be hit. Small speed to be hit at. Huge speed there.
So, see if we can get the exact speed then, how about? We do some digging here on this one, and if I can pull up the speed difference here, not going to be able to do the speed difference, that's only live, which is unfortunate, but this will give a good idea of how fast this car was going. Then he's going to... And then it's just complete chaos here at the moment. And he even got hit again a couple of times as he was spinning out to come to a stop.
There's just got a little bit of radio chatter that one of the cars, the 89 car, said that they're going to be pitting on the green flag for reasons that are beyond my understanding. With 13 laps to go and these yellow flags.
Penalty. If it's a penalty, you can't serve those penalties under yellow. They have to be served under green.
Huh. Just I wonder why he got the penalty.
My guess would be a restart violation of some sort.
Hmm. How curious.
Well, in any case, you've got 24 cars on the lead lap, including shocking enough Nicholas Fontanon, the driver that rolled in that latest incident. Aaron Smith, Jonathan Schwartz going to be the two cars to take us back down to the green flag when we go racing again for lap number 49. 12 laps remaining. The second race, the VRX-Pimax World Cup, also sponsored by Thrustmaster and Buttkicker. Pace car is into pit road. Here comes that number 7 car to the Geico restart zone. Barn to the flag man. Gonna set us on our way. This time, putting right in front of Jonathan Schwartz, does not want to waste any time or give that 95 car any kind of room to work with as they run down to 1 and 2, which is smart, right? He knows how good Schwartz is on that outside lane of the initial start. He wanted to make sure he covered that outside line up immediately so he couldn't get the run of the 1 and 2 down the back straightaway.
Very clever racing there. Very, very good.
And back behind, double file again, and it looks like a potential problem given the field. You got guys scrambling down and into the apron, but all things considered, gonna get a green flag going for now. Nathan Kennedy, meanwhile, is in pit road, as is Schwartz. I believe they were already laps down, though, and having to take toes. Mark Matho has gone to the inside. He's spinning on the back straightaway, and that's number 3 now. Number 4, excuse me. Oh, they actually weren't done wrecking back here either. Spiker's into the inside wall in a big way, and her car is destroyed.
Yeah, from the looks of it, we have involved, or at least that's what's coming up with 4X at the moment, is Larry Bell, Carson Catlin, David Collins, Justin Ritchie, Nicholas Fontenot, Stira Clampert, Greg Spiker, Mark Math, Justin Ritchie, Teresa Spiker, and Jeffrey Hunter again.
We got to look back to what happened here. This kind of ball started around where Mark Math is at the 199. Around turn 2, he's got the 65 right behind him. Oh, he's gotten loose, and he's nailed the outside wall. And again, up and into the air and almost over. And that's 55 got sent spinning around. Teresa Spiker, meanwhile, wrecked all by herself and then got collected in a completely separate incident coming down to the back straightaway. So again, another huge round of curious drivers involved in this one. We'll look up to the 55 of Justin Ritchie, who spun a bit later. There's Matt spinning around. And, oh, he got into the 65 and nailed somebody else. He spun back onto the racetrack.
It is literally a carbon copy of what happened at the last restart, I would say, with Jeffrey Hunter.
Oh, goodness gracious. It just, these guys cannot catch a break, it feels like. So we'll get 2 onboards this one. We'll start off with Mark Math, and we'll go down to Teresa Spiker to see what her view throughout all of this was like, as Matt's just going to get loose off turn number 2 here. Oh, he clips the apron. That's what ends up happening. Then he nailed the outside wall, got up and into the air. You already see Teresa Spiker's in the wall in the background, and then, oh, man, Matt just didn't hold the brakes there. That's
yeah, no, he didn't.
What to say about that one.
Looks like no.
Oh, and Spiker lost it trying to lock it down.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you saw it right there. That tells a different story. Right rear was destroyed. He couldn't hit the brakes even if he wanted to.
Well, with exploded brake lines and detached brake lines, it's sorry, my bad. I'm just losing my own train of thought. Yeah, with exploded brake lines are just not disconnected, brakes will not work. But it's crazy, just a slight dip below the apron is enough to throw the car all over the place.
We got less than 10 laps to go. I'm anticipating we're going to be going green here in about another lap or two time. I think we're going to have one more lap. We are going to have one more lap behind the IRC safety car. So we're going to take a quick step back, and we're back with the rest of your show tonight. You're watching the VRX-Pimax World Cup from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Live on Sky Sports F1. Formula One is back. It's the moment they've been waiting for. Are you ready? It's time. Let's go, boys. Listen to the roar. Right now. Time to go racing. Box.
There is a bullet Ferrari. I need more power, man.
Realize it's hammer time.
He's going for it.
Give me everything you have. He's going wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to Concord, North Carolina, where we are still under the iRacing safety car and still trying to get ourselves sorted for a green flag. The lights were out, but they have come back on, and now the lights are out aboard the iRacing safety car. So we are going to go green flag racing this time by, with 6 laps left on the docket for us here today. We just exited yellow flag. Number 4, we're hoping not to make it 5. Caution at this point will put us into overtime. Pace car is down into pit road. Once again, Aaron Smith going to be the car in the race lead as we are back to green flag racing with 6 to go.
Once again, it was a very, very late start there from Aaron Smith, but it looks like it has worked out all too well for him. He's got that bottom line. Let's just have a look at the back of the pack here, just to make sure we do not have anyone getting loose down on the exit. And yeah, looks like we're fine this time.
A couple drivers scrambling, but for the most part, we're good. How about the 73 up the middle? Gets into the 48. We got cars slicing and dicing all over the place. We run it back down to the front straightaway in the lead portion of this field. But so far, it's all smooth sailing. 5 laps to go, and we are still double file from 5th on back as we rocket it down to turn numbers 1 and 2. And we're crashing it big time over in turn 1 as well. Catlin's involved again. The 55 is in it. It's all the usual contenders, including the 327, who was upside down earlier in this race already once. Carson Catlin in the Collinator, also involved. A big host of drivers. And Ryan, this means it's green-white checker time.
Yes, it does indeed. The ultimate sprint of sprints. That was... I'll be honest, I was watching from behind because I was half expecting the same incident to happen at turn 2. So I did have a good look at this, and yeah.
We'll get a look back on that one in just a second here. We'll go to Justin Ritchie. He was one of the main drivers that was involved in this one. Why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah. So what we've got here is Nicholas Fontanon trying to get up ahead. But in the process, John Hudson sort of presses car 22 of Dylan Jackson up against the wall, which sort of sends cars going left, right, and into Nicholas Fontanon. This creates a domino effect and just sent cars going all over the place.
I mentioned Fontanon was involved, but he made a pretty sharp turn on the racetrack. I want to be happy to get loose and turn number 1 to the back end of the field here. So we'll. Oh yeah, there it was. So okay, there's a story to this one. All out of control still, and right there he fully loose in, and that's what set him up and took out a good chunk of the field.
Yeah. So as I was saying, he was trying to get up ahead. He backed out, but didn't stop the car number 3 going into car number 2, creating that little instant, which knocked Nicholas Fontanon out. He did look like he managed to just save it, got a little bit loose again, and then, because of the speed difference, him going about 138, 135 miles an hour, and the car behind him going...
Right there, the 3 and the 22.
Yeah, going 20 miles an hour quicker. There's just not much you can really do.
Yeah, everybody else just kind of streams in from behind. You see the 9. Oh my goodness! I think the 9 car actually just managed to avoid that. I'll want to get a look on board with him in just a second, but for now, we'll go to Fontanon and kind of show you what was involved here on this deal.
Yeah, so if you have a look on the car on my left there,
Right there.
just squeeze the car left, yep, and they just...
Losing it, out of control, thinks he's got it, pins the throttle, and then nope, doesn't have it, and that's it. Yep.
Maybe if he just got out of the throttle a little bit sooner, maybe could have held it. But racing's all about shoulda, coulda, woulda, am I right?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah, it's part of the deal. We'll go to Nathan Allen Kennedy right behind all of this. He's got a good bird's eye view of this whole mess up the road here, so hang on. This is going to go well. I think he just managed to get around this, but he sees the smoke flying. Jams on the binders. Did just barely manage to get around that.
That is an impressive amount of control on the brakes there to not knock it up. This man may have a career in road racing if his braking is that good.
No, I didn't think the brakes on the Gen 7 stock cars were that good. Here we got another look at this one here. We're going to slow this down just to give you an idea of how close this was. Watch as the smoke again starts to fly up the road. The field starts to wreck and jumps on the binders, and look at that. Not even a bumper's width between him. Holy cow,
wow.
What a dodge.
If there was a thicker coat of paint, they would have made contact. But that is impressive, because everyone knows the brakes on these cars are made from all the unused yellow pages of the world.
Oh, boy.
They are pretty useless brakes, I won't lie. But yeah, that was impressive just to avoid contact there.
Smoked
maybe a little
that
bit of a
front
script.
in doing so.
Yeah.
And we will not have an overtime attempt. Lights are still on, but the white flag's been waved. This race is over.
It looks so interesting.
So that is it. Aaron Smith going to be declared your winner. As
That's
that
interesting.
That's quite the way to go, and I have to imagine it's some kind of there was some kind of error behind the scenes on that one. Daytona definitely did have some overtime attempts, but Charlotte not so much. This race will be ending behind the safety car as Aaron Smith going to be your winner after all, and Schwartz picking up second. I don't think it'd be understated though how good a few of these drivers had. I mean, look at Ever Marshall. Haven't talked with 16 car at all today for the Premier machine. 18 spots gained.
Amazing stuff. Isaac Wilson doing pretty well there. Derek Stanley, Joseph Maines. I'd also like to say John Swartz, his moves around the outside consistently were beautiful to watch and really entertaining.
No kidding. Well, that's going to be it then, as we're going to come off of turn number 4. And we're going to be declaring this race official as Aaron Smith going to come down and we'll take a very lackluster win here in the VRX-Pimax World Cup for race number 2. Give it up for Aaron Smith, who will clinch the win.
Yeah, there's nothing more disappointing than a race ending under yellow. Gotta say, disappointing, but sometimes it's racing. Yeah. Damn shame. I was really looking forward to that last little bit of racing because it's always the best.
Few drivers are still out on the racetrack, just putting one last lap down, particularly that have not crossed the start-finish line yet, which is why we have not gone around just yet. But you can see everybody's starting to just kind of have their little bit of fun down there on the racetrack. But what a ride for us here in the VRX-Pimax World Cup for race number 2, and what a way to close things out. And we'll take a run of your official post-race results here after tonight's event here for the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Aaron Smith, the race winner over Jonathan Schwartz. You got Sean Bowden to pick up 3rd, Isaac Wilson in 4th, Chris Carroll be in 5th with Derek Stanley in 6th. Joey Maines is in 7th, Jason Day is 8th. Edward Marshall gained the most spots out of anybody, moving up 18th to finish in 9th. Joseph McWhorter rounds in the top 10. Brian Hennings is in 11th with Corbin Himstreet in 12th. Troy Tarberg is 13th with Jason Lyon in 14th. John Hudson is 15th. Dylan Jackson in 16th. Stephen Cronin in 17th with Sarah Clampert back in 18th position. Moving on down through your field, you've got the likes here of Dave Collins Sr. in 19th with Greg Spiker in 20th. Carson Collins is going to be 21st. Justin Ritchie in 22nd. Jeffrey Hunter, the last driver to finish on the lead lap, in 23rd. Nicholas Fontanon, Lewis Meglin, Andrew Schuler, Nathan Kennedy, Larry Bell, Teresa Spiker, Mark Math, Joseph Seelig, Guy Barrett, Dustin Buck, and Jim Schwarr going to round out your field with Buck and Schwarr both opting not to make it over to the starting grid here in this one. So, yeah, quite the show that we have had so far here tonight. We'll see if we can't dial up then some of your big winners after tonight's race, and we'll see if we'll, I don't even know if we'll be able to get a chat here with one Aaron Smith, your race winner for tonight. That's a little bit of a disappointing one, to say the very least, but we'll at least be able to talk to the likes of Jonathan Schwartz here, the second place finisher here over in this one. We'll give a chance to talk to P number 2 in this one, and well, Jonathan Schwartz, you are the runner-up, and how does it feel to not be able to race it out with Aaron Smith on that one in those closing laps?
Yeah, that's a way to be able to end it. How does it feel to not be able to race? That's definitely unfortunate. I would have liked to be able to give it a shot there. Aaron seemed really strong on those restarts. Just trying to time it well was a challenge. But yeah, I mean, a 2-lap shootout, I feel like I might have had a chance. Early on in the race, I mean, I was so upset after I was battling for 3rd place, and then Joseph slid out 4 and then came back up on the track and slammed me, and I thought my race was over. I overshot the pits, and I barely even made it around to the pits with all my damage, so I had to fight through the field, and I don't know how I made all those moves on the outside. So I don't know if any of the broadcasts got that, but that was super fun. Just around the outside, everyone was hugging the inside, and somehow I managed to go from, like, I don't know, 11th up to like 4th or 5th there. And so yeah, I mean, then I somehow avoided that wreck out of 2 where Aaron almost spun, and then everyone checked up and went to the outside, and I somehow escaped into 2nd. So man, I'm really enjoying Charlotte. It's definitely it was a bit chaotic at the end there, but man, I'm just super happy to get a podium up here.
Well, you get that podium, as I mentioned before, and obviously for you, this is going to be pretty big news here as we get set to look forward into the races coming on up here in the VRX-Pimax World Cup. You're able to get yourself with a bit of a solid run here. Do you reckon this is going to be good enough to try to propel you up into a title position here when we get down later on in the 8-week season?
I mean, I know that Aaron is a really good driver on road courses. That's also another track I'm looking forward to, is Watkins Glen. But I mean, with so many, like Daytona being one of those restrictor plate tracks, and then Talladega, as well as iRacing Super Speedway, and even Atlanta next week, that's almost like 3, just so much banking. It's like super important with the draft. I feel like it's really hard to be able to tell. I feel like this track, it wasn't as important in terms of slipstream. So I mean, I was hoping the schedule could be a little bit more oriented towards these types of tracks, but I mean, I'm definitely happy with the result, and I'm hoping I can keep the momentum going.
We look forward to the Atlanta Motor Speedway in 1 week's time. It is, as it's been recently dubbed, the Speedway that is a super speedway, almost completely flat out, obviously, with the repave and the new banking on that track as well. What's your take as we get set to go into what's going to be the fastest 1.5 miles on the calendar?
Yeah, unlike Daytona and Talladega, I feel like Atlanta's particularly narrow, and so just being able to find those places, it's like you might be in these trains, but just being able to find a place to pass is a real challenge. So I think that'll definitely be one of the more challenging tracks just in terms of passing, and everyone's gonna be so close. So if there is an incident, chances are you'll be involved. So I'd say key up there is just gonna be trying to stay up in the front and. Yeah, after my poor Daytona race, I'm hoping to make up for it. So thanks.
Well, we'll let you close things on now then here, Jonathan. Congratulations on a very good race win, or not race win, a race runner-up, sorry, for that second position. Hopefully, though, it will be one better, and we'll be able to talk to you in Victory Lane in Atlanta, Georgia next week.
Yeah, thank you guys. And just want to give a shout out to Simray City as well.
That was the number 95 Chevrolet Camaro of Jonathan Schwartz taking this race down in that second position. Aaron Smith is down there. We'll be able to get a chat with him. We'll talk to him before too long. Well, but for now, we'll save the best for last, and we'll give a chat to our third-place finisher, Sean Bowney-Stead. And Ryan, you're standing by with P number 3.
How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Sadly, the race did finish under yellow flags. How are you feeling about that you weren't able to challenge for your qualifying position at the end there?
I had a lot of time to think about that, actually. I'm kind of neutral on it. One, I don't think I had anything for Aaron. This time I thought maybe I had something. I warmed up the tires enough. I could probably hold the inside against John, but I think it would have been a fight for second with just a couple laps to go. And the flip side of that was, if we go back green and I get caught up in a wreck, I'd be much worse off. So I took what we had and just accepted it, and I'm feeling pretty good about a solid third place finish.
I'm glad you have the positive outlook because, you qualified second, you ended up dropping back one place, but it's good to have that positive outlook. And don't worry, the standards seem to reflect a very good position for you so far. What challenges were you particularly facing during this race, would you say?
I tried to hold the pace that Chris did at the beginning of the race, and I felt my tires bailing on me a little bit. Aaron ditched, running up front at the very beginning, and it was really a balance of when are they gonna go, and when are the cool tires gonna come back. And I had a good observation watching Aaron's progress when he went back and then came back to the front, and I thought maybe we were going to have a big green flag run at the beginning, so I started dropping back a little bit more and then maybe a little bit too much. After that, I just got reasonable position back and just held the front part of the field and just maintained a lot better. Middle of the race, everybody could see that the tires were wearing off pretty extreme, so it was really mellow. There's a lot of patience up front, so that made it easier. And then the way the cautions fell, it slowly became irrelevant and just kind of go until you see a caution or a checkered.
Okay, so it's safe to say these cautions definitely hindered your race and your race strategy more than they helped. Would you agree?
It really depended on who saved better. You can only assume that maybe you calculated right and then you had something for him at the end, but at the same time, 2-3 laps to go, I could have just blew off all the tires and still ended up worse. So it ruined the chance to see what would happen.
Well, there's a lot of things that could be said about that race where that statement may ring true, but it looks like you made the best of a bad situation and you did indeed manage to at least get onto the top 3 steps there and got some really decent points. Are you looking forward to Atlanta next week?
I'm genuinely looking forward to all the tracks. They're all a little bit different, but all within range of eye shot of the leaders, and there's some pretty good competition up here, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Is there any particular tracks that you're looking forward to specifically?
I may not be the fastest, but I'm pretty good at it. I'm looking for that change up there in the field, Watkins Glen.
Oh, good choice. I'm looking forward to it as well. Right. Have you got anything to add, Nolan?
That was most of it is just a fantastic race, great competition up front. Few cautions, it happens, but yeah, just appreciate you guys coming on board and doing this race, and everyone from VRX, Pimax, Buttkicker, and everybody, and Fanatec as well. Just thanks for letting us do this.
Yeah, no worries. Have you got anything to add, Nolan?
I think that says about all that needed to be said right there. Thank you to Sean Bound for taking the time to join us up here from third place, and best of luck then next week in Atlanta.
Yeah, first couple races looked pretty good. A couple solid runs, and just looking forward to consistency. So we'll see you next week.
As the driver, the number 34 VRX Chevrolet, joining us up here from that third position. We'll get a chance to now talk to the race winner at the end of the night. Started on pole and eventually ended this race up in victory lane as well. Aaron, you started on pole, you finished first, but obviously it wasn't quite certain you were going to end up there. Chris Carroll seemed to have it all over you on those restarts.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he came from. It's the first time I've seen him around here, but he's shown a pretty good amount of speed there. He's got a solid I rating and certainly put up a really good fight tonight. If any one of those guys in the top 5 got a jump on me on one of those restarts, I certainly wouldn't have been able to get around him with how low the margin of error is here, but fortunately it all worked out in my favor.
It works out in your favor for sure today. Obviously, it was one of those races that it seemed to just kind of drag it out the longer it went along. The wrecks seemed to get more and more out there, but you were able to be lucky enough to keep it out in front of everything. But what was it like, though, as you saw that yellow flag draw closer and closer towards the end of this race?
I was a little worried because I wasn't too good on the bottom there on those restarts. I didn't want to start in first gear because while that could have given me a bit of a jump on them, there was a bit of a seam down there and I didn't want to get caught on that. So I stayed in second gear, and every once in a while the car on the outside would get a better jump than I did. But fortunately I was able to pull ahead in turns 1 and 2 and kind of get a bit of a gap there before the cautions would come out. But I'm glad it didn't last any longer than 3 laps there on those last few runs because I probably would have slipped up the track and made a mistake.
Obviously, you got you got the next race coming on up over at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, coming on up in just 1 week's time. What's your plan then? As you said, to go to another 1.5 miles, but one that has speeds that are so much higher than Charlotte, the one that's arguably twice as treacherous.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what to expect yet. I've only run a couple races there in these cars, so I'll try to keep all 4 corners of my car clean, and hopefully my internet will hold out long enough for me to run that whole race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next year.
Well, fair enough on that one. Before we let you go, then anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 7 car before we turn things off?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks here at VRX World and Pimax for putting the show on, and y'all for broadcasting, all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it next week at Atlanta.
That's about going to be a wrap for us here then tonight here on this one, as that was the number 7 car once again. Aaron Smith joining us up here from Victory Lane. And I have to say, what an amazing race that we have had so far here tonight, Ryan. I mean, again, you just could not ask for a better way to have a good show for 34 cars for the VRX-Pimax World Cup.
Absolutely not. I mean, we got second place who came from 8th on the grid, making those amazing moves on the outside, which will stay in my mind for a very long time. We have Isaac Wilson, who came from 17th to finish 4th. We've got Derek Stanley coming from the 18th position to finish in 6th. Joseph Maines starting 20th, finishing 7th. These are huge gains in positions and make for excellent racing. The only downside is we can't cover it all. We've only got a set amount of eyes and cameras. But we will try and give you the best coverage that we can.
Of course we will, and when it comes down to Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's bound to be just as intense of a race as the one we had over here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina was. For now, that's going to be a wrap, though, here for Green Flag TV. Once again, my name is Little Rebel with Ryan Howard beside me in the broadcast booth. Thank you to all the sponsors for Pimax, VRX, Thrustmaster, and Buttkicker for being able to help put on an absolutely amazing show. You tune in next week, same time, same place. We get set to go racing for race number 3 in Atlanta, Georgia.